Welcome you guys into this webinar. Today we're talking about the professionalization of the business advice industry. Of course, as things evolve, there is formalization happening, and the requirements that are out there in terms of our profession are shifting. So these are things are happening, and if you want to be prepared for the future, it is of course best that you know what those things are that are happening, so that you can be prepared and ready to deliver your service. Perhaps if you are running your own business as a business advisor, also to grow your business into something successful. So this is what today is about. We're fortunate that we have Septi Bukula and Joseph Tshiwilowilo as the main speakers on our webinar today. Septi is the curator of the International Conference on Business Advising, which is happening in November in Johannesburg. And we all know Joseph by now, JMT as we know him, as the CEO of IBASA, and as a leader in the industry in terms of this process of formalization. So I can't think of someone better to be speaking about this topic than him. And we're looking to learn from them. By the way, towards the end of the webinar, there's also a chance to win something, namely free access to the conference. It does cost 3,800 Rand if you would enter independently. So that's quite a nice attraction for us today. And apart from that, we've got some normal things like news from IBASA and about membership and so on. So may I just ask that since this is a new platform, before we move on to the content, you'll find that, in fact, I've got a attendee view here open on my left. You find that you can do some settings. You can actually manipulate some settings yourself in terms of your experience, but that we can get to later. There are 2 or 3 main features on the platform that I think that you should take note of as an attendee. The first is the Q&A. So Q&A is for questions and answers that we want to address during the webinar. So if you at any point in time have a question, whether it relates to IBASA or the EPI or the conference or the topic at hand, you can actually note your question there. Sometimes those questions may be answered through a text answer if it's just a piece of information, but otherwise we'll be talking about those questions. We'll be addressing them in the webinar. So at any point in time, you can pop your question in there. And then next to that, there's a button that says chat. Your experience will be slightly different if you're on a computer compared to a mobile device. To see some icons, you'll have to actually tap the device's screen for it to come up for you to see. Otherwise, on the computer, it will always be there for you to see. So I see there's something happening in the chat already. So the second one is the chat. If I may ask, let's do this. We're about 35 people in the room now already. So if you can just very briefly type in the chat what area of business advice you are focusing on. What is your expertise? What is the service that you offer most? So we get a kind of a sense of what the people are in the room, what they are doing day to day with business advisors and in the organizations that they are serving business advisors. So thanks, Carl. You've taken the initiative there to say good morning to everyone in the chat. So at the bottom of the chat, there's an area to type. And you can actually select also, I'm not sure about you guys, I can select to who I send the message to. I'm not sure, let me just see. There's a new platform, so I'm also learning. Yeah, the blue button, just make sure that you actually select all participants and all panelists and attendees when you do your chat there. So, nice to see Nick. Sorry, I'm not sure why your connection will be breaking. It may be an internet issue on your side, because Zoom is in fact a platform that's really stable and uses less bandwidth than the previous ones we've been using. In fact, that's why we've moved over to it, because a lot of people that try to attend the webinars complained that they could not, that the experience wasn't so great because of that reason. By the way, you can also phone in. So if you look at the email that you received confirming your registration, you'll see there's also a South African number that you can dial. Unfortunately, you'll be paying the landline fee, the 087 number fee that's associated to that. But if your internet breaks down, you can in fact also phone into the webinar with a phone line. You of course won't be able to see us, but you'll be able to hear everything. And the Zoom ID number for this webinar is provided in that email too. It's 6185866722. So in fact, if you just open Zoom and you put that ID number in, you'll be able to enter the room too. So I'm seeing there's lots of activity. Quibus advising clients on government incentives and the employment tax incentive. That's very specific. Lina, finance, accounting, and operations. So may we suggest that, in fact, there may be connections being made through the chat too. So, sort of we all specialize in something and sometimes need the help from others. So this is also a platform through which we can make those connections. I'm relying today on Karel Venter from the EPI and Teddy Mapuvira from the IBASA office to assist us. So you'll see that they are in fact active there in the chat area. And they will catch up some of the things that may emerge in that feed too. I met with Lynn yesterday, so it's nice to see people that are regulars too, and Carmen too. So shall we jump into the webinar, Joseph? Let's see, we'll have to unmute you, and maybe you can just tilt your screen slightly forward so that we see your face well too. Perfect. So we're talking about professionalization of the business advice industry, but perhaps there is something to share in terms of news from IBASA first.
Yes, thank you so much, Christoph, and also our board member, Mr. Karel Venter, and all the members that are in attendance today. You are all welcome, and it's interesting that we chose this topic towards the end of the year and after an eventful year that we have experienced in this industry and the country. A number of us will know of the Mackenzie issue and the issue that is currently affecting KPM. What is that organization again? I'm tending to forget their name. The auditing firm that is in the center of the controversy with regard to professional institute and organization. Now, briefly, the way I'm going to do the presentation today, I would like to look at IBASA and inform those who are in attendance today a few things about IBASA, why is IBASA a role player in the space, and why they should continue playing the role that IBASA is playing on this space. So it's very important that we continue playing the role that we believe it's necessary in this profession for IBASA to play. And I will then also thereafter, having informed you who IBASA is, in other words, I will be giving you our credentials, why we are supposed to speak about these things, who we are in the space. Thereafter, it's why professionalization. And having argued why professionalization, then we look at the methodology that we believe should be followed, or what are things that need to be done for this industry to be a credible industry, an industry of integrity. Because you will agree with me, members, and even those who are not IBASA members, that the business advising space, with so many other names that we will be sharing and discussing here, it's a wild west. Anyone with a laptop, an iPad, and a sophisticated telephone, they go out there and punch out few things and actually convince people to part with their monies, buying tools that they will never use, buying things that they will never use in their businesses. Now, without taking time, because we only have an hour, let me quickly take members through who IBASA is. It's going to be very brief. Now, IBASA, it's an institute that it's owned not by an individual. It's owned by members in good standing at any point in time. So that is who IBASA is. And it is a non-profit company, NPC, in terms of the 2008 Act, Companies Act. And as I said, that it's owned. Now we have an elected board, and the board then elect an exco that assist with a day-to-day administration. And they appoint the secretariat, including the CEO. It's appointed by the board, assisted by exco. And we do have an HR, REMCO, nominations committee, and the risk committees that operate in the space of business advising. Now, IBASA is a UK body originally in 1989, that is before our independent freedom or democracy, whichever name that you want to choose. It's a UK body established in the UK. And in 1998, we then had a chapter. So our members in the country were members of this institute while it was in the UK. In 1989, then we had the institute in the country. We had a South African chapter, the first one. And in 2001, we realized that the UK association, it's very much Eurocentric, and we're looking for something that will speak to Africa's situation. And at that time, I think what we didn't know, or what our members then did not recognize, is that the world is becoming a village where standards have got to be international. That whatever you do in your country, it's something that should be done in other countries. So that is how it was. Now, what is it? What is core with IBASA? Now, we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are an independent, non-statutory professional body that grades and accredits business advisors, consultants, coaches, mentors in Southern Africa. Some of them call themselves counselors. Those are the people that we grade and accredit. Now, we are recognized by SAQA. We are an organization that SAQA recognized, South African Qualification Authority, in terms of the National Qualification Framework of 2008 Act. So that is the recognition that we have from a government. Now, we are not, I need to underline that we are not a statutory body, but we are a self-regulatory body. We are regulating our members. Now, already you will pick up that regulating members means that we want them to be professional. So if you are not a member of IBASA or any other professional body for that matter, and you are doing business advising, you are on the wrong side of this equation, because we would like people that go and advise people out there to be belonging to a professional body. Now, at this stage, we will not punt other professional bodies, but will punt IBASA. So we would like you to join us and be a professional person, be recognized like us being recognized by SAQA and the national. And currently, we are in the process of registering with QCTO, and also working with Services CETA. Now, these are government bodies that have been entrusted with the regulatory environment of the qualifications and the trade and occupation in the industry, of various industries. And those are the organizations that we are working with. Now, we grade and accredit. Currently, we have got 3 designations. It's the entry one, it's a BA and a PBA and a CBA. We are working on having 5, where we are going to have a technical business advisor and an associate business advisor. And we are also working on aligning our designations to NQF levels. So the designation is going to be aligned to NQF. And I can say to you now already that that process has started. And we are currently saying that our business advisor is equivalent to a level 6. And our principal business advisor is equivalent to a level 7. And our certified business advisor is equivalent to a level 8. Now that is the honors. And thereafter, if you are at that level, we expect you to be able to understand issues of research, to do research, because the next one is going to be our level 9, which is going to be a master's, and a level 10, a doctorate. And we are working with organizations, institute like EPI, Entrepreneurship Planning Institute, who are actually co-hosting these webinars with us today. In terms of equipping business advisors in the industry. And I need to mention at this stage that it is for this reason that we have this free webinar to empower and inform our members so that they can be, they should have continued professional development that is not costly for their practices and even for themselves, for their businesses. So,
Joseph, if
yes.
I may interrupt you there, because that leads us nicely into our topic of today, which is
yes. I'm actually going there. Yes. Okay. Fine.
So,
yeah.
but before we jump into the topic, are there any other kind of newsworthy? We've had the AGM and so on that you would like to share from IBASA side. The clock is ticking, so I'm just aware that we need to get on to that as well. And we also want to speak about the conference today. So perhaps if there's some news emanating from the AGM that you can share in half a minute with us.
Okay. For the AGM, okay, let me start by saying that the AGM went on very well, successfully. We didn't have, this current AGM was not an elective AGM. From the next one, which is the 2018, we will have an elective AGM. So this time it was really, the key thing that I need to share with members is that our MOI, Memorandum of Incorporation, has been adopted by members who were present, and it's the document that will be governing the institute going forward, and that the term of board members has been ratified to be an initial 3 years, and they can be voted in for other positions. And we have got various committees, and I really want to appeal to members that are here listening today that we do have a number of vacancies in terms of various subcommittees that are going to have to be formed for members to be part of that. And do try and go through, we have emailed this to membership. Our reports from the CEO and from the CEO and the chairman of the board were emailed to membership. And if you have not received that, please do contact the office and have our report, which is detailed about various activities that are taking place. And to conclude this part, let me say that we are working very closely with SAQA, the body that has recognized us. We are recognized as a professional body because we do have codes of conduct for our members. And we are asking members to adhere to those codes, you know, to comply with the codes that we have. And another thing is the services SETA. We have got exciting development. As we speak now, Ntabi saying our membership administrator and our senior administrator, Lesiho, are on their way to Polokwane today. There's going to be a career day at a place called Hamapepe in Polokwane. So in various parts of the country, we will be moving around with services SETA. And there are a lot of opportunities. Very soon, there's going to be a national rollout of new venture creation. And we do ask our members, those who have listened when we spoke last time, that members should go and train as assessors and moderators. And the services SETA is going around the country trying to train most of our members and even other people outside the membership of IBASA to train as assessors and moderators, because those people are going to be needed. and also skills development facilitators. We will also need.
I'm aware of that project with the services CETA, and it's pretty much up to the regions. I think it's the number of 25. If they have 25 people that are together.
Yeah. So the
challenge for us, sort of in the different regions as members of IBASA, if we can put 25 people in a room that wants to be trained as a session moderator, the services CETA as a partner of IBASA, I know, is committed to actually covering the cost of that. So that's a great benefit of being a IBASA member.
Exactly, yes. And please don't only anyone with a potential of becoming a member and you know that they can be trained, please invite them. Let them come there, because you'll be giving them value and they will see value of IBASA as well going forward and continuing.
So if we can just pause there for a moment. I did put on the screen there the link that you can follow through if you're interested to become a member, or if you're a member and you want to be regraded. Just fill in your name in that form. It's member, IBASA member dot the EPI dot, sorry, let me repeat that. Or perhaps, Carol, if you can type that in for us. It is IBASA member dot the-epi.org. It's just a forward to a link of a form that you can fill out so that the IBASA office can get back to you with more details. But if we may, Joseph, can we move forward on the topic, because I think that's such a such a rich topic for us to discuss.
Yes.
As opposed to the organizational stuff. And I would like to bring our guest, Septi Bukula, in. So Septi, if you don't mind switching on your camera, I can unmute you here, but I can't surprise you with a camera switch on.
Is it on now?
We can hear you now, and we don't see you though. I think you're facing the camera in the wrong direction, so you have to have a forward-facing camera. But the important one is that we can hear you. So we don't see you so well yet. Let's see what happens. Can you try face your camera forward?
Oh, it's facing me.
We see your chair. Huh? We see the empty chair. Oh, there you are. Okay, so it looks like, Septi, it looks like you're, yeah, it looks like you'll have to move because the spot that you're in.
Because I just reversed.
So perhaps we will switch off the camera then. So maybe if you can keep the camera off. The internet seems to be a bit fuzzy. Septi, by the way, people are at a conference and busy making the business of connecting and networking around the tourism industry right now, which is an area that is one of his focus areas as well. So he's moving around a bit now. But I wanted to bring him in to talk. Yeah, now let's try now. Otherwise, we switch off the camera and then we can at least hear your voice.
Okay, so is it all working well now?
No, it's all working well. So,
sorry,
yeah, if you can find a place that you can maybe be seated.
I'm actually literally standing in a passage.
Well, that's the wonders of
I'm standing in a passage.
Okay, so we're broadcasting you across the world, walking down the passage of the conference center there. But talking about conferencing, and the topic at hand of today, Septi, is the International Conference for Business Advising, where the industry as such will be taken into consideration, and where the topic of how do we ensure quality service delivery from business advisors, from mentors, from coaches, from facilitators, from consultants, all of them together is key. So can you tell us a bit about ICBA, International Conference for Business Advice, and what's up? You've sent me the program, so I can show that too if we want to share that. But what is the conference about, and why should business advisors be interested in this? Septi, can you hear me? It looks like Septi's connection is a bit bad. So let's see if we...
Christopher, thank you. And thank you to you and the IBASA for inviting me to be part of this webinar. You know, I've been involved, as you know, in the small business. Hello? Hello?
Septi, let me suggest that you switch off your camera because it looks like the internet connection is not that great. So if you switch off your camera, if you click on your screen and you click the icon, which looks like a video, I can also ask that, in fact, that you give me control of that.
Okay. Oh, nice.
There you are.
Yeah, I will. Are we okay now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. You don't have to see my face, you just have to hear what I have to say. That's the important bit.
So in fact, Septi, I may suggest.
Okay, so
Septi, I'm going to suggest that you actually use the phone number that I've provided you to phone in from the phone line, because the internet seems to be dropping us. There, too many people at the conference are using it, because we can't. It's dropping too badly.
Is it? Can you not hear me?
We hear you now. So let's give it a try. If it doesn't work, I suggest that you actually do the phone in, because then we will have your clear voice. But
Okay.
let's try. We can hear you now. Sorry, Septi. In fact, that's not working. I'm going to suggest. Septi, I'm going to suggest that you actually. Septi, if you can hear me, can you use that phone number?
So what I'm saying is that.
Okay. Sorry for that. That's the thing.
Oh man.
Yeah. Septi, can you use the phone line? I've sent you by WhatsApp the phone number, so you can phone.
What a pity. You know, I've taken.
So Septi, if you can use the phone line, then we're sure to have your voice, and we can talk about the conference there. But perhaps we can revert back to you, Joseph, and about the development. So you were talking about the designations and how we are.
Yes. Shouldn't I go, because of time? Shouldn't I go to the a problematic statement and the abstracts, in terms of professionalization of the industry?
You can please do so.
Yes, yeah. But let me take this opportunity to welcome our honorary member, Mr. Septi Bukula. He is the honorary.
To switch on your camera again, that we can see you too.
You want to see me?
Yes.
I don't want to see you.
You must just switch on your camera again.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get there. Okay. Let me
click on the. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. It's there. There we are. I think you'll be able to see me now. Are you able to, or not yet?
We see you. Thank you.
Okay. You'll ask me if you want me to tilt it further. It's fine. Yeah, I was welcoming our honorary member, Mr. Septi Bukula, and he is the convener of the ICBA conference that we're going to have in November. And I need to also inform members that he is one of the advisors at the services CETA who are looking at the business advising in industry and environment, in terms of assisting, in terms of how it should be regulated. So I'm pleased that he's part of this discussion here. Now, the abstracts, it's business development services has developed. Now, however, the quality and real impact of service rendered to SMME by such business development providers are increasingly questioned. In other words, the kind of quality that we are getting from our members is that of inferior quality, not our members, but those people out there who are picked up to be given this. And another thing is that business development industry, it's unregulated. And recent initiatives to develop standards were undertaken without any results. And this is not something new, the fact that we want to start with this. And a set of standards that will be used by the industry is required. And the impact can be measured against those standards. Now, anyone who's working out there, people have formulated their own standards. We don't have industry standards like in the accounting profession. And we believe that our members should be subject to at least minimum standards that they should adhere to. I think that is very critical. We don't have a standard, so we are saying that at least let us have a minimum standard in the industry, and this will include the tools that our members will be given, and they will be trained on the usage of those tools. And these tools will also be available to SMMEs. And we are saying that the standard should be eco-inclusive. SMEs and social entrepreneurs operating in the green economy. We are partnering with an organization called SEED, and we are going to be assisted by South African Bureau of Standards in putting these standards together. And now, the elements that we believe should form part of these standards are the following. It's that before we even go further, people who are operating in this industry, we are saying they need to belong to a professional body. That should be a criteria of any business person, any organization using a business advisor. We're saying like an accountant, where you would not just pick up any person from the street. And today it's us. For an example, with the receiver of revenue, not anybody can be a tax practitioner. You are required to be a member of a professional body for you to be a tax practitioner. And we are saying it should be the same with this industry. So we are saying it should be the same with this industry, that members who are indeed operating in the industry, they must belong to a professional body. That is what we are saying, and that is what we are arguing. And for an example, we have got the issue currently now of KPMG and McKinsey. Now, they are business advisory people who were involved in that. They don't belong to professional bodies, or they have not declared if they do belong to a professional body. And we would like them to be subject to disciplinary process in terms of the code of conduct of the organization, if indeed they are not belong to a professional body. But it would have helped if they could have declared or they belong to a professional body, because the first thing whoever is interviewing them or dealing with them would ask them about the professional body that they are belonging to. Now we are saying the element that will be covered in those standards that will be basic, we're saying they should have best practice. In other words, the industry that does have what we call best practice, and there should be education and training, education, development and training. That should be standard, and hence we propagate for CPDs, continued professional development. It's very important that people should continue making sure that they advance themselves educationally, as we have outlined to you in terms of the new competency framework that you will need. We are aligning our designations to national qualification framework. And it's important that members should continue, and we are going to start a process. I had indicated to you earlier on that we have got 3 designations. We're going to add 2 designations. One other thing that is important is accreditation and certification of business development providers. So no one should operate in that space without having been accredited, certified by a professional body. And designations for accredited business advisors, different levels. And we want to have a process of measuring impact, metrics of impact measurement in the industry, and statutory recognition of business development profession, and the mandates, institutions, positioning and role of national regulatory body for business development services to SMEs and non-statutory membership based on professional institute. So this is key. It's what we are propagating for in the industry, that we want people who are operating in the industry to be professionals, belonging, people of integrity, people will be honest, and people will be trustworthy, because we are dealing with people's livelihood here in terms of the professionals. I think
if I get it right, what you say, the main point that you're making is that in the professionalization of the business advice industry, so correct me if I get it wrong, the main point here is that professional business advisors will be members and will be required to be members of a professional body.
Precisely.
Yes. Or not, another story, but they will have to be a member of a professional body, and in that way comply with CPD and the grading or the designations that professional body has. So in IBASA's case, we're moving now from 3 to 5 designations. And that's the first point that I get from you is you have to be a member. So in fact, we've taken that first step. Most of us on the webinar today have already taken that first step. And if you haven't taken that first step, by the way, please do so urgently by joining IBASA, so that you're right. You can show that you are on the right course in terms of offering professional services.
Correct,
then I hear from you that there's also included in that or added to that a certification. Is that different from the designations, the certification?
Yes, the certification, we are in the process of aligning the designations to the National Qualification Framework, the NQF levels. So the certification is being aligned currently. So it is going to be now, already we do have a designation. So if you belong to a professional body, you will have a designation. And currently all professional bodies, it's also one of the requirements from SAQA, they should have RPL. Even if I don't have a matric, I should be RPL. RPL stands for Recognition of Prior Learning. You will be able to be given a certificate that will be equivalent to a matriculation certificate.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's just for clarification. And then you mentioned 2 other things, namely that there will be some kind of impact measurement anticipated in terms. So we talk about the professionalization of the industry. So it's not everyone kind of do their own thing. There's some kind of measurement in place, or measurement instruments in place to determine what the impact of work is. And you also speak about a regulatory body. Maybe the two would go together. Can you tell us a bit more about that? What are the thoughts around the regulatory body?
Yes, let me start with the measurement, the metric measurement of impact assessment. Now we are saying M&E should be standards. M&E, it's
measurement and evaluation.
Sorry, it is
measurement and evaluation.
Oh yes, yeah. It's is it measurement and evaluation? Okay, let me accept that. Just that I'm not thinking properly now. But it is. Oh, you're right. It's measurement and evaluation. That it should be made standards. It's not measurement. I'm just not getting the word. Okay, but we're saying that yes, it needs to be measured. It needs to be evaluated continuously, and that should be standard. And it's also assessing and moderation in terms of, like, now currently we are busy training a number of business advisors. Now we are looking for those who are moderators and those who are assessors to assist in training, and also who are training those people. So there should be a measurement of those standards and indeed be evaluated going forward. I think I agree with you, Christopher. There it is, measurement and evaluation. And now coming to the regulatory environment, as it is now, we are a self-regulatory body as IBASA, but we are saying the government through the Department of Small Business, DTI, or any other agency should look after this environment. And if it means they should regulate it, yes, they should regulate it, but working with professional body. And if they are indeed, maybe through, because of financial constraints, if they are unable to regulate this, they should then allow professional bodies like ourselves to regulate the industry. But that act by this professional body must be recognized by government that indeed we are doing something that it's in their jurisdiction. We're helping them to make sure that the industry is a professional industry where professional can feel comfortable to assist. And this will indeed help to coordinate and integrate business development in the country. Our people can grow businesses. We don't want them to remain startups. We want them to go to GEP, what we call growth entrepreneur programs, you know, growing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while we talk about membership, let's do something interesting and see who on the call are in fact IBASA members. I'm launching a poll there now that people can vote in. So it should appear on your screen. You can just easily say, yes, I am a member in good standing. No, I was, but my membership expired. No, but I was considering to join. Or no, I never was a member. So if you can choose, looks like about everyone on the call today are members. Only 8%, 9%, 12%. No, a bit more, increasingly. So about 81% of people are members. Looks like about half of us have voted. So those that are away to make coffee have not voted yet. So 60% of us had voted. So let me see if we can close that poll now, so you can also see the results. 84% of people on the call are already members. So we are on track towards one of those requirements at least. And those that aren't members, let's advise you to do so urgently so. And the link is there. By the way, it's not an email address, it's a link that IBASA member.the-epr.org is just a forward link to a form. If you fill out that form, it will go to the IBASA office for follow-up so that you can become a member if you're not yet. So having said that, let's, Joseph, if you would tolerate that, let's try Septi again.
Some time out of this conference already. Some time out of this conference already.
We hear you well.
Some time out of this conference already. We hear you well. Some time out of this conference already. We hear you well. Some time out of this conference already.
Well, Septi, we're hearing you with lots of feedback. So perhaps you've got more than one app open there. So if you want to just make sure that you connected once into the room, then we can come back to you just now again. It's sorry, people, it is a bit frustrating. Perhaps if it doesn't work out so well today, talking about the conference, we can make another event to do so. By the way, if you follow the chat, thanks Carl and Teddy for attending to that for us. And also thank you for Philip, Daphne, Lynn, Carmen, everyone that helped us out in finding monitoring and evaluation as the right words for.
It's monitoring and evaluation. Yes, I was about to say that.
So the link is in fact IBASA members, IBASA member.the-epr.org for those that want to send through the details so that we can follow up with a membership thing. And hopefully Septi, I've given Septi the phone in number to use, and hopefully you can connect through that. That's perhaps why we're getting the feedback. So Septi, if you can close the web connection and just use the phone one, that would. But if it doesn't work out, our promise can be that we will make another event to talk about ICBA 2017. It's in November, so there is still some time for us to do so. And one of us on the call here today will actually win free access to that event. So we'll come to that in just a while. So by the way, so if you want to attend, if I can get to the right page here, I'll show you quickly where you can go to attend the the conference, because it is open for registration. ICBA 2017. If you go to ICBA2017.the-epi.org and you fill in your details there, then it will take you, they will know that you are interested to attend the conference. Hopefully we can still talk a bit more about the conference with Septi just now. So, interesting, we had some 4 questions that are already answered. I'm not sure, Carl and Teddy, if I can bring you guys in here to maybe help us out on what's been happening in the chat. Would you like to switch on your camera and then we can perhaps see you too, Carl and Teddy?
Yeah, while we're waiting for them, can I just add about the uniformity of standards, an area that we would like to, I speak as an accountant, and those who are in the accounting profession will agree with me. As accountants, we've got what we call international standards. And the body that is responsible for those standards, it's a body that is called International Federation of Accountants, IFAC. Now, in this profession as well, with the help of people like Mr. Septi Bukula and Mr. Wilfred, I don't know if he managed to join this webinar today, and various other people who are interested in looking at international standards. We are looking at organizations that will help, that will assist us to have international standards so that we can have uniformity. So the standards that are going to be applicable in RSA, like various other accounting standards, should be the same standards that are going to be used in other jurisdictions or other countries. And that is the area where we are going. And there will be a minimum standards that members will be expected to adhere to or to comply with. And also, it's very important that the organization that you belong to, that they should have at least they should have code of conduct.
So Joseph, if I can interrupt you, we've got Septi on the phone connection now. So
yes,
maybe we can come back to the standards and how that will apply to us. If we can jump onto the conference discussion on the conference quickly. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the conference program for us, so that Septi can see what we can expect there to be happening. Septi will not be able to see you now because you're on the.
No, I know the program. Don't worry.
But let me just switch on the screen share, then we will be able to see your face on the webinar. Okay, so Septi, can you tell us a bit more about what we can expect from National Conference for Business Advising?
Okay, thanks. Just to say, by the way, I've been part of this conversation from the beginning. I don't know why you guys couldn't hear me, because I was hearing you very, very clearly, every single word. So you couldn't hear me, but I could hear you. So here is the issue. I think when Joseph started his introduction, he used this term that I've had several times about business advising in this country in the Wild West. Some call it the jungle. And this to me is incredibly frustrating. I'll tell you the reason why. International research right across the spectrum. Can you hear me? Because I hear a lot of echo.
Yes, we do hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, cool. So I'll just continue because there's a lot of echo on my side. International research shows very clearly that business advising is one of the key, most important interventions in helping SMEs to survive, sustain themselves, and grow. And if you look at the statistics between SMEs that have not benefited from business advising and those that have, the gap is so huge. And so it is very important that we get business advising right, for the sake of SMEs, for the sake of the country. But what has been happening in the country, is that we have a plethora of organizations and individuals who call themselves business advisors. Like Joseph said in the beginning, there are quality issues, there are fragmentation issues, and all these sort of things. And so if you look at the UK at about 2010, 2012, they had exactly the same situation that we have in this country right now. There was no policy on business advising. There were no common standards. It was all fragmented, and the UK government took a decision that because business advising was so important, they, as the government, had to intervene to make sure that business advising that doesn't start having a bad name. And I think that business advising in our country is at that place where it risks having a bad name in the market. When I say the market, I'm talking both institutional users and SMEs and entrepreneurs themselves. So it is absolutely important that we get to a place where business advising gets the respectability that it deserves in the eyes of everyone in the space. So ICBA, the International Conference on Business Advising, and we're doing the first one this year, and we are thinking that is going to be an ongoing conference, is really creating a platform where we can bring together all the players in the space of business advising. And it's not just business advisors. It is policymakers in government. It is, of course, professional bodies, business advisors themselves, entrepreneurs, and user groups. When we talk about user groups, we talk about banks, people who lend to SMEs. We're talking about corporates, who, for their enterprise development programs, want SMEs to be advised. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why quality business advising is so important. I've worked with banks for a long time. It is a very important risk mitigation intervention for banks. And therefore, business advising is not just about growing the business, which is a key contribution, but it's also about facilitating access to finance because it's a risk mitigation measure. And so for all those reasons, business advising should be at the core of what we do to develop SMEs here. So at the conference, we'll have all these players. We're going to be taking literally a 360-degree view of business advising, starting from policy. What policy should government put in place in order to direct business advising in the direction that we all believe it should go? And then we're going to look at the professionalization, the issues that Joseph has spoken so eloquently about. We're going to look at the practice of business advising. Who should be practicing business advising? What are the issues? And critically for me as a researcher is going to be looking at the performance of business advising. And that's what we're talking about impact measurement, because one of the things that we don't do in this country very well is that we don't do impact measurement. So we want to be able to ask the question, because if business advising is going to have credibility as well, it has to demonstrate that it works. And the only way it can demonstrate that it works is if we do those impact assessments at the end of the cycle. And this is the thing that they've done in the UK. And the UK government has invested a lot of money into business advising in terms of developing the supply of business advising. Of course, your own study, Christoph, showed that there's what you call the missing middle in terms of, the grade of business advisors. We need to close all those gaps. And if there's a missing middle, we want to be able to go to government and say, how do we develop the supply to close this gap? So in a nutshell, this is what the conference is really about. And it is therefore no surprise that we're doing it in partnership with the Department of Small Business Development, because when the department got to hear that we're doing a conference like this, they literally jumped on board, because they said business advising from a government point of view is one of the key priority interventions from a business development services point of view for them to be participating in. So it's a broad conversation. Of course, when we conceptualized this thing, we went to SIPA and IBASA as the two partners that we know in the field. But through the work that I'm doing for Services Seeker that Joseph alluded to earlier, I have come to discover that there's a whole range of other players. There's Comensa, there's ABP, there's EDCSA. I always knew about EDCSA. But they also see themselves as being in this space. I was chatting to Joe last week. There's the IIB, there's all these players. So the idea is that we make ICBA as inclusive as possible, because it is really, truly an industry conversation to say, we're all dealing with an important BDS business development service here, but it's got all these issues that we need to address. So the third day is going to be split into a policy forum, because the Department of Small Business Development has said, out of this conference, they want to start a process of formulating a policy. I'm going to be giving them a document before the conference, which begins to point them in the policy direction that I believe they should go. And so that document will serve as an input into the conference. And then after the conference, it will then be a policy-making process together with the department. And of course, in conversation with all the key players in the industry. So when we meet next time at the ICBA 2018, it will be to review the process we'll have made from this year's ICBA to next year's ICBA. Maybe for those who are business advisors and are interested in accumulating, professional development points, we are bringing a group from the US called the Association of Accredited Small Business Consultants. And these people are going to do a half-day workshop on the third day. So the third day splits into two. There's a policy forum for those of us who are interested in discussing policy issues. And then there's this CPD workshop that is done by Dr. Richard Weinberger from the US for those who are interested in further professional development. So in a nutshell, that is the ICBA. I'm happy to take any questions there may be. Christoph?
Yes, Septi, there are indeed some questions that people are asking. So, for instance, Kobus is asking, if I'm only practicing in South Africa, why should I be attending an international conference?
I beg your pardon?
Kobus Basson is asking, if I am only practicing in South Africa as a business advisor, why should I attend an international conference?
It's a great question. I think that if you have listened, if you've heard me well, I am saying that this conversation is about all the players in business advising in South Africa. All right? So if you're practicing in South Africa, you are the person who should be there. The international component of it is I'm a researcher by profession. Everything I do is international. I believe in learning. I believe that we don't want to start things from scratch. It is important to learn from what is happening in other parts of the world. And by the way, some of those people who are international speakers who are going to be speaking at ICB are already practicing here. If you take Growthway, for instance, Growthway is in this country, is being used in this country. So the CEO and founder of Growthway is coming to speak at ICBA. But we want to look, there's other things. Remember, we are looking at this thing, we are looking at it from just a practice point of view, right? We are not looking at it just from a practice point of view. We're looking at it from policy to professionalization to practice to performance. And so it is important for us to learn from what is happening in other parts of the world. So, for instance, we have the ambassador of Denmark for South Africa speaking there, because Denmark is known as one of those countries that are at the forefront in terms of how they develop business advising in that country. So those inputs are important, because if we're going to formulate policy, which is going to affect you directly as a business advisor, we want to learn from what is happening in other parts of the world. But if you're only just concerned about practice, it's a very important discussion at the conference. And so you should be there. If you want to sit on the other side of the table with the bank, with the CFAs, with the ITCs, with the CETAs, with the department, with the corporates, all of them from South Africa, you've got to be there.
Great. So it's a great place to connect and also to empower yourself, to upskill yourself for the job that you have at hand. So if I may ask that those that are interested in attending the conference and perhaps even winning the free access, go to that ICBA2017.the-epi.org site that we have on screen there now. And then one of those people that show interest there would actually get the free access. Thank you very much, Septi, by the way, for CBA, the organizers, for offering the free access for one of the webinar attendees today. I'm sure there's more to talk about, and perhaps, IBASA and the ICBA, because IBASA is a partner in the ICBA, can look at ways of reaching out to people that may not be able to make it too, so some of that content can become available. But of course, the best is to attend and connect with those people that Septi have mentioned now. So unfortunately, we are on 12 o'clock already, so I know that some people will have to run. But with the permission of, and I know Septi must go back to the conference that he is attending. So may I say thank you very much for your contribution here, and sorry for the technology that didn't allow us to connect as we should have. But yeah, the internet access over the cell phone lines are sometimes unpredictable, even if you test it beforehand. So thank you very much, Septi. We can also deal with some other questions locally here that people have posted. So, if we
Chris.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
thank you very much. And good luck with all the organizing and influencing the policy, as you say, with the conference. So please go to that site, to that link, click that link, into that link, and put in your details so that you also stand a chance to win the free access to the conference worth 3,800 Rand. But that brings us back to the reality of it being 12 o'clock and having to wrap up. So there are some questions that we haven't answered, and we can keep going with them. In fact, we will keep going with them, even if the time is up. So if those that have asked the questions can be patient with us, please. I just need to say that, sort of one of the questions, for instance, there from Portia, is that she's a coach, a mentor coach based in Cape Town, and she's looking for a mentor, someone to help her with the work that she's doing. So luckily for you, Portia, there are ways, and this is one of the things that the EPI is focusing on, namely to be supporting practitioners, people like yourself, in improving our ability to work with our clients and in building our businesses and so on. And one of those are the peer circles. So some of you may have signed up for that. We are forming peer circles based on common interests. So it may take a while for a group to emerge of enough people to form such a circle if you've already indicated your interest. But if you have not, go to circles.the-epi.org and enter your details there, and we'll be in contact with you to have a discussion about what your needs are and what kind of circle would be best suited for yourself. There's a cost involved in joining those circles. We'll have a chat about that too, but it counts towards your development as a professional. So please do that. Portia, I think that's part of what you perhaps could do. But yeah, so with your permission, shall we say that we can stick around, Joseph, Carl, Teddy, for another 10 minutes?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So those that need to excuse themselves, please do so. But for the rest of us, we can stay online, and we'll be covering what we've missed in the chat. And there are some 4 or 5 answers. We had about 13 questions that came up during the webinar, and get back to them just now. So Carl, if I can refer back to you, Teddy, perhaps you too, if you've picked up something from the chat. It looked like there's some lively things happening. I saw that Michael was saying that Amiya must make contact with him, and he left his email address there. So this is why we have the chat, is that we can make those connections. But Carl, Teddy, what else did you pick up from the chat?
Yes.
Teddy, do you want to switch on your camera?
Okay.
So first to Teddy and then to Carl. So Carl's camera is on, so let's go to him first. Teddy, just switch on your camera, please. So Carl, what did you pick up from the chat?
Yes, Christoph, I think we tried to, from the chat, well, the first thing we can see is that the people attending are actually from a very wide range of consulting areas and specializations, so that's great to see. Then what we've tried, a few people has posted questions in the chat area, so we're trying to ask everybody to rather put the question in the chat box or chat panel, or in the question and answer panel, so that we can isolate them. Otherwise they get lost in all the chat comments and so on. I think there's 1 or 2 still in the chat area. Anderson asking, can we a bit more clear about, or saying that he's not sure about the CEDA advisors being accredited. I think he posted something over in the Q&A area regarding that. I'm not still not sure exactly what it is that he's asking, because he just said he's unsure about the registration.
Okay, so there are a few
that
things that you've
can be a
picked
question
up there
can answer.
about membership and clarification around CEDA membership. Specific questions, any specific questions that we need to deal with? I've put in the links there. I see that people were asking for the links. I've put in all 3 links for ICBA, the conference link. If you're interested in that and want to win the prize, stand a chance to win the prize. If you're interested in joining a EPI peer circle, or if you're interested in IBASA membership, all 3 of those are there in the chat now. What else do we need to attend to, Carl, from the chat?
Still a question whether they will be able to link to the conference like we have to the AGM. People need to understand naturally that EPI is not hosting or organizing the ICSB conference. That's totally a separate event. I'm not sure whether you can answer the question whether there will be a live feed where we can attend the conference remotely.
Okay, so I don't think there would be, but it's definitely something that can be put to the organizers. IBASA is represented there too, so just on the steering of that.
In minutes, then I will be able to attend to this thing. I cannot now, eh? Okay.
Oops.
Yeah, I'll call you in a minute.
Let's mute Joseph. There's attending to some on the side, but let's jump onto some more issues, Teddy, that you picked up from the chat.
Just one concerning ICBA from Ditava Lucy Maraka. If there's any subsidy or a fee for people who are already IBASA members, like a half payment for the fees. So I think Septi will be the one who will be able to answer that. If there can be an agreement for people who are already IBASA members, so that they can get a discount.
So maybe Ditaba, if you can put in your details there at the link, ICBA2017.-epi.org, and then someone from OSIBA, the organizers of the event, will be able to contact you. It is perhaps something that we can take into IBASA. Perhaps there's a way that IBASA can help members with some kind of subsidizing of attendance. I don't want to put you on the spot on that, Joseph, but I'm sure that it is something that can be considered, at least. If it's not possible financially, then of course we've tried that. So there are also some other questions here. Okay, so Addison said he was trying to answer one of the questions. I understand that the process is currently underway with CEDA advisors, but I'm not aware of any program. So that's also part of perhaps what the question was that Carl picked up there. So CEDA advisors are in fact through CEDA support members of IBASA, which is absolutely great. So participation in the IBASA events like this builds the relationships between those that are independent business advisors and they're working for institutions like CEDA. But I'm not sure, Joseph, if you want to come in there in terms of the questions around how this thing with CEDA is structured. Business advisors from CEDA are becoming IBASA members, and Addison is asking if what is the process underway in terms of CEDA advisors getting training and support, or any program support through that. You'll have to unmute yourself. Or I'll do it for you.
No, it's done. Okay, sorry, I apologize for that. Okay, let me explain the relationship that we have with CEDA. We do have a 3-year agreement contract whereby the first year is 2017, whereby we grade and accredit their business advisors. And currently the number that we're given is 154. And this is also going to include, obviously, like that is why they are invited to come to these webinars, and also to continue with CPD. Now, what's going to happen is that it's only the employees. I hope this person is an employee of SEDA. Is that correct? Is it an employee or outside SEDA?
I'm not sure, but I think it's someone that is a SEDA business advisor, if I understand it right.
Okay, now, okay. I need to explain that. Now, those who are independent business advisors being used by SEDA, and they are our members, they will obviously be subject to our code of conduct. But if you are a SEDA employee, you are subject by our code of conduct and SEDA, obviously, employment contracts. So, and there is, we have been asked and we have identified the gaps that are there with the business advisors, where we can further train them and develop them in terms of this 3-year agreement or contract. So that is what it's at stake at the moment. So we grade and train them. We grade and accredit them. And if we see gaps, we then advise as to what process needs to be followed. If the person has gained a BA designation and they want a PBA and a CBA, there is further training and development. And if you are a CBA, to maintain it, we also advise on the process of continued professional development that needs to be followed. And hence the partnership with EPI, and we are going to be discussing and negotiating with other institutes that can assist us to continue training and develop our members. I hope that helps the member.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I've got one question left. Lynn's question we've answered already around the conference. Kobus Basson is asking, we're talking about accreditation with the Department of Small Business Development, but what about Department of Trade and Industry? They do not want to talk to consultants or advisors. So I'm not sure, Joseph, if you've got some news there. Before we get to answering that question, if I may ask, I'm impressed. We've got 2/3 of people are staying on 10 minutes after the conclusion of the webinar. So if you would like participants, everyone that's still on the call, if you want to in the chat area, just type in the main takeaway that you have from this webinar. What is the thing that you've learned or that you see as important insight that you've gained from being here today, so that we can share that. And maybe it's also good feedback for us as the organizers of the webinars to see how people respond in that regard. Before we get to the last question, so if people want to type in there what they've gained and what is good about the webinars, perhaps also what we can improve upon, we can take that forward for the future. By the way, the next webinar is on the 11th of next month. The topic is still to be finalized, so we can also take some feedback in terms of that, what people would like to have the webinar focus on into the October webinar. So sorry for interrupting you there, Joseph, but if we can get back to Kobus's question. Kobus Basson's asking about the Department of Small Business Development and the Department of Trade and Industry, and that they seemingly do not want to talk to consultants or advisors.
Yeah, I'm pleased to report that I have been given names. It was just that we were busy with the AGM. I got the names before the AGM. I will be meeting the Department of Industry with regards to what we have just discussed here, and them using our business advisors, consultants. That I can say we will be giving the report back maybe at the next webinar. We will be giving, or even before, we will be giving to our members as to how we believe they should engage with DTI. And that is indeed coming, yes. And let me add with regards to why should people attend the ICBA conference. Now, if you want to influence policy in the country, I believe that is where you should be, so that you can make your own inputs as to, for an example, the issue of DTI not wanting to engage with our members. this is something that will need to be addressed at this forum as well. And for those who really wants to influence policy, I believe they should be. And now, if you are operating as a business advisor in the country, and there are resolutions that are going to be made that will regulate your industry here, I would rather be there to be part of those resolutions, where I'm not going to allow other people to dictate or drive the industry where I am operating. So I would want to be part of the decisions that are made in that particular industry. So it is for that reason that I strongly believe that our members should be part of this, because this is going to influence policy that will regulate and govern this industry going forward. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Zinzile, for commenting there about the impression that you have taken away in terms of the standards that are coming, and the comments in general about us taking steps forward in empowering business advisors to be professional. I've saved the best question for last, Joseph. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I am. I'm here.
Matione, I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, from Zimbabwe. He's a member in good standing from Zimbabwe. Now, I know that the name of our institute is the Institute for Business Advisors of Southern Africa.
Yeah, that includes Zimbabwe.
He or she, I'm not sure, is asking, I see Teddy has given an answer already, but I think this is an important one.
No, I've not seen Teddy's answer. Let me give my own answer.
Good. Please help us. So the question
what is the question?
From Zimbabwe's side, can we start a chapter for IBASA?
Oh, 100%, but in conjunction with us. We need to discuss the modality and all. Actually, let me answer it this way. That is correct, 100%. Yesterday, I was in a meeting with Wilfred and a gentleman called Henry from England. Now, already we are going to Africa, the entire of Africa, and they are looking for the same model. They say there is a template in South Africa, so they just need to go and put it together in Ghana and also in Nigeria. So I think it is the same thing with Zimbabwe. And we were in discussion with people in Botswana. Unfortunately, they are a company, but we would like to work with an institute. So if indeed they want to be an affiliate of IBASA, it's something that I'm happy that we also have one board member here. It's something that we can they can start interacting with us and advising us as to exactly how they want to set themselves up, and we would like them to remain part of the main body in South Africa, so that we can have Africa, because we believe Africa, it's one, it must be united. We need to work together to develop Africa, and it's Africa's time, and especially SADC with South Africa being the leader in terms of the economy. We would like to take advantage of this strong economy to influence Africa, both the West and North, and even the East of Africa. Yes.
Great stuff. So I was hoping that we could inject that person into the webinar just to hear how it is in Zimbabwe at the moment, but that didn't work. So next time we can do that. But thanks, Terence, Jasmine, Zenzile, Portia, Philip, Nujan, Lynn, Louis, Lucky, Lydia, Quibus, Grace, Gloria, Fred, Kobani, Denzel, Clive, Anthony, all of you who stayed till now. We're trying to build this into something meaningful for the future, and I hope to see you with us next month again. Remember to register. You have to do that every month. And with that, we can conclude. I may ask that if someone wants to share what they're up to right now, we can do that as an informal exit to the webinar. You just need to push your hand up. So there's the button that says raise hand. if you want to come into the call and tell us what you're up with. And good news, there we've got Louis going to promote you to a panelist, which means that you can tell all of us what you're up to. If you want to come into the call, this is the exit. There we are. I'll unmute you. And so how was the webinar for you, and what you're up to?
No, what I mean, it's useful to have these kinds of conversations, but I was thinking that also would be a good thing that we can plan for the future, probably a meeting where we can meet other members in Johannesburg and make some networking.
Good. Yes, the chapters do organize meetings for IBASA, so that is something that can definitely be done. But share with us quickly, if you don't mind, sort of what kind of business advising are you doing?
We are mainly advising the wire and cable industry all over Africa, mainly East Africa and Southern Africa. So we do analysis from the financial situation of the company. We make an assessment and a spectrum opportunity, and we give the customer alternatives to either increase the throughput or increase productivity or reduce waste. But we do it from the point of view, the whole P&L.
Great stuff. We also have Quibus and Jasmine that wants to tell us quickly what they're up to. I'll unmute you both if you want to talk. Oh, you disappeared now. Got frightened when the camera went on. Okay, well, that was interesting. We can share something. Maybe we can do this as a standard feature, is to share some news at the end of it. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. It was sorry for that glitch that we had with Septi, but we did hear from him in the end, which is great. So let's say our goodbyes, and we'll all see you next time around next month on the 11th for our next webinar. So goodbye.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for a good webinar. Thank you again. Okay, cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Enjoy.
Okay, bye.